Effective atomic number rule. There are many theories that explain bonding in coordination complexes. Alfred Werner was the first scientist who gave theory to explain bonding and isomerism in coordination complexes. But Werner's assumptions were not based on theoretical justification. And after Werner's coordination theory, the scientists started making attempts to find basis of bonding in coordination complexes. After Werner's coordination theory, Neville Sedgwick in 1927 gave a theory of bonding which is known as effective atomic number rule or just EAN. Before going to discuss effective atomic number rule, we let's get familiar with some basic terms used in coordination complexes. Complex ions. We have seen in Werner's coordination theory, when a complex is dissolved in water, it ionizes to give a complex ion and some other ions also. A complex ion may be defined as an electrically charged species which consists of a central metal atom or ion surrounded by a group of ions or neutral molecules. Like here is given in a picture, there is a central metal atom and this metal is surrounded by a group of ions or molecules, and there is a net charge on this complex ion, and the charge on the complex ion may vary depending upon the charge on the central metal atom and the charge on the ligands. The groups or ions that are bonded to the central metal atoms are called as ligands. Complex ions may be of three types depending upon the charge on the complex ion or the complex. Cationic complex. Cationic complexes are those complexes which ionizes to give a complex ion that bears positive charge. This is an example of cationic complex. In this complex of chromium, hexammine chromium, chromium is the central metal atom and it is surrounded by 6 ammonia ligand, and there is a tri-positive charge on this complex ion. This is another example, diamino silver complex ion. This complex ion bear unipositive charge, and here is another example of cationic complex, tetraamine dichloro cobalt complex ion. On this complex ion there is also unipositive charge. Anionic complexes are those complexes on which there is negative charge. When these complexes are ionized, they give a complex ion that bears negative charge. Tetracyanonickel is an example of anionic complex. It is di-negatively charged complex ion. Nickel is the central metal atom and is surrounded by 4 cyano-ligands. There is another example of anionic complex, hexacyanoferrate, tetra-negatively charged complex ion. There is another type of complex which are known as neutral complexes. In neutral complexes, there is no net charge on the complex. The example of neutral complex is tetracarbonyl nickel. Nickel is the central metal atom and carbonyl, 4 carbonyl groups are the ligand bonded to this central nickel atom. Determining the charge of the metal ion. In a complex ion, we know there is a central metal atom which is surrounded by a group of ions or molecules. We know charge on the complex ion is neutralized by another counter cation or anion. Here is an example of anionic complex. When this complex is dissolved in water, it ionizes to give potassium ion and a complex ion, diamine tetrachlorocobalt complex, on which there is di-negative charge. We know the charge of the cation is balanced by the charge of anion. The negative charge of this complex ion is balanced by the two potassium ions. This is why this complex ion is anionic complex. Now, if we have to find out the charge on the central metal atom of this complex ion, that is cobalt, we can use this formula. The charge of the complex ion is equals to charge of the metal ion plus the total charge of the ligands. Here in this complex, there are two neutral amino ligands and 4 chloride ligands, and the total charge on this complex ion is di-negative. So the charge on the cobalt metal can be calculated by using this formula, and the charge on the metal comes out to be di-positive. So cobalt in this complex ion is di-positive cation. Here is another example of a complex. This complex is cationic complex. When this complex is dissolved in water, it ionizes to give a chloride ion and a complex ion. This complex ion is positively charged. The positive charge of this complex ion is neutralized by one chloride ion. If we have to calculate the charge on the cobalt in this complex ion, we can follow the same formula, the charge of the complex ion, and which is equal to the charge of the metal plus total charge of the ligands. In this case, the charge on the complex ion is unipositive, and because there are two neutral ammonia ligands, 4 ammonia ligands and 2 chloride ligands, the total charge because of 6 ligands come out to be di-negative. So the total charge in this complex ion on the metal comes out to be tri-positive. So cobalt here is tri-positive metal cation. Let us take some examples to calculate the charge on the central metal ion. Here is an example of a cationic complex. This complex, when dissolved in water, gives 2 chloride ions and a complex ion, which is cationic complex. This is hexaamino nickelate complex ion. The total charge on this complex ion is di-positive, and the central metal atom is nickel. To calculate the charge on central metal atom, we use the same formula, and using the formula we can calculate the charge on the nickel metal, and the charge comes out to be di-positive. Let us take another example. This is a complex of cobalt tetraamino dichloro complex. When this complex is dissolved, it ionizes to give one chloride ion and a complex ion, which is unipositively charged. And in this complex ion, central metal atom is cobalt, and the charge on cobalt can be calculated using the same formula again. And as the charge on the complex ion is unipositive, and the total charge on the ligands is because of the charge of 4 neutral ammonia ligands and 2 chloride ligands. So the charge on the cobalt atom in this complex ion comes out to be tri-positive. So cobalt is tri-positive cation in this complex ion. Here is another example. This complex is an example of anionic complex, potassium hexacyanoferrate. This complex ionizes to give potassium ions and anionic complex ion. hexacyanoferrate complex ion, which is tetranegatively charged. In this complex ion, iron is central metal atom and the total charge on the complex ion is tetranegative. So to calculate the charge on iron, we use the formula, and the total charge because of 6 cyano ligands is -6, and the charge on the iron comes out to be di-positive. So the central metal atom, that is iron, in this complex is +2 oxidation state. Ligands. Ligands are the ions or molecules that surround central metal ion in a coordination complex. Ligands may be small ions such as halides, hydroxyl ion, cyanide ion, small molecules such as water or ammonia molecule, or large molecules such as ethylene diamine, or even macromolecules such as porphyrin ring. For a ligand to make bond to central metal atom, it must have at least one lone pair of electron. This is the primary condition for a ligand to make bond with the metal. In a ligand, one atom may have more than one lone pairs of electrons. Like in case of water molecule, there are two lone pairs on oxygen atom, but only one lone pair of electron can be donated by one atom at a time. But in ligands, when there are more than one donor atoms, they may donate their lone pair of electron to the central metal atom. And depending upon the number of donor atom, ligands are classified in different categories. First is monodentate ligands. In monodentate ligands, there is one donor atom in these ligands. They may be neutral ligands, neutral molecules, or anions or anionic ligands. In the given examples of neutral ligands, there is only one donor atom in these ligands, and only one lone pair of electron is donated to the central metal atom. Like in ammonia molecule, nitrogen has one lone pair of electron and it make bond through donating that lone pair of electron to the metal. In water molecule, oxygen has two lone pairs of electron, but only one lone pair electron is donated to the metal. In carbonyl, uh, oxygen is the donor atom that donates its lone pair of electron, and in nitrosyl, nitrogen donate its lone pair of electron. In anionic ligands given here, uh, one atom may contain many lone pairs of electron, like in case of halides, bromide, iodide, chloride, or fluoride. Each halide ligand is having three lone pairs of electron, but only one lone pair of electron is donated to the central metal atom. In some monodentate ligands, there are two donor atoms in one ligand, like in case of thiocyanide ion. There are two atoms, sulfur and nitrogen atom, both having lone pairs of electron, and both atom can donate its lone pair of electron to make bond to the metal atom. But when the point of donor atom or the point of attachment to the metal is different, this ligand is named differently. Like when nitrogen is donating its lone pair of electron to the metal atom, or nitrogen binds to the metal, it is named as isothiocyanate ligand. But if the same ligand is making bond through sulfur atom, or sulfur atom is donating its lone pair of electron to the metal, then it is named as thiocyanate ligand. There is a similar case, nitrite anion or nitrite ligand. In this anion, there are two atoms, nitrogen and oxygen. Both atoms are having lone pair of electron. When this anion make bond through nitrogen atom to the metal atom, it is pronounced as nitroligand. But if the oxygen atom is donating its lone pair of electron to the central metal atom, it is known as nitritoligand. Bidentate ligands. In these ligands, there are two donor atoms, and both the donor atoms can make bond to the central metal atom at two different positions. These ligands are bigger molecules. They may be anionic or neutral molecules. Here, oxalate ion. In this anion, there are two point of attachment, or the two atom can make bond to the central metal atom. Two oxygen atom can be bonded to the central metal atom. Here is an example of oxalate ligand. In this ligand, the central metal atom is iron, and in this complex, three oxalate anions are bonded to the central metal atom, and each oxalate ion is bonded through two oxygen atoms. There is another example of bidentate ligand, ethylene diamine, and it is simply known as EN. In this molecule, there are two NH2 group, and in each NH2 group, nitrogen can donate its lone pair of electron to the metal, and both the atoms can make bond to central metal atom. These are the examples of bidentate ligands. Neutral bidentate ligand, this is ethylene diamine. Two nitrogen atoms are the donor atom here in this molecule. In bipyridal, in this molecule, the two nitrogen atoms again are the donor atom here. These are the examples of anionic bidentate ligands. Acetate ion. In this anion, two oxygen atoms are the donor atom. Oxalate ion, we have already seen the two oxygen atoms are the donor atom in this ligand. In acetyl acetonato also, the donor atoms are the two oxygen atoms. Polydentate ligands. In these ligands, there are more than two donor atoms present in a same molecule. When the three donor atoms are present in a same molecule, they are called as tridentate ligands. The examples of tridentate ligands are imino-diacetate ion. In this anion, there are three donor atoms, one nitrogen atom and two oxygen atom. These three atoms in a same molecule can donate their lone pairs of electron to the central metal atom. The another example of tridentate ligand is diethylene triamine. In this molecule, three nitrogen atom of this molecule can donate their lone pairs of electron to the central metal atom. Tetradentate ligands are the ligands when there are four donor atoms are present in a molecule. This is porphine molecule. This is a macromolecule, and in this molecule, this is a cyclic ring structure, and the four nitrogen atom present in this cycle can donate their lone pairs of electron to the central metal atom. The metal is placed at the center of this ring, and these four nitrogen atom can donate their lone pairs of electron to the metal and can make coordination bond. Here is another example of tetradentate ligand, triethylene tetraamine. In this ligand, four nitrogen atoms of amino group can donate their lone pairs of electron. So the four donor atoms are the nitrogen atom, and metal is placed at the center of this molecule. Pentadentate ligand. Pentadentate ligands are the ligands when the donor atoms are 5 in a molecule. Here is an example of pentadentate ligand: ethylene diamine triacetate ion. In this molecule, the 5 donor atoms are 2 nitrogen atoms here and the 3 oxygen atoms of triacetate ions. Here, 1 oxygen atom, and this is the second oxygen atom, donor atom, and this is third donor oxygen atom of this ion, and the 2 nitrogen atom. All these 5 donor atoms can make bond to the central metal atom. Hexadentate ligands, when there are 6 donor atom in a molecule or a ligand, these ligands are known as hexadentate ligand. This is an example of hexadentate ligand: ethylene diamine tetraacetate ion, or simply known as EDTA. In this molecule, 6 lone pairs or 6 atoms are there to donate their lone pairs of electron. There are 2 nitrogen atom here that donate their lone pairs of electron, and 4 oxygen atom from the acetate ion can donate their lone pairs of electron to make bond to the central metal atom. This is an example of a complex of hexadentate ligand, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid or acetate ion. This is the central metal atom, and this central metal atom is bonded at the 6 positions of the same ligand. Here, the 2 positions are occupied, or the 2 oxygen atoms are present here, making bond with the central metal atom. Other 2 oxygen atom from the acetate ion making bond here to the central metal atom, and 2 nitrogen atom here making bond to the central metal atom. So this is the one molecule having 6 donor atom and donating 6 lone pair of electron to the one central metal atom. Now let us discuss effective atomic number rule. Sedgwick in 1927 gave a theory to explain bonding in coordination compounds. He extended the Lewis theory of electron pair bond formation. He suggested the term coordinate bond for the bond in which metal atom or ion accepts electron pairs from the ligands. And he suggested that the metal ion accepts electron pairs from the ligands until it achieves the nearest noble gas configuration, and this is known as effective atomic number rule. The total number of electrons possessed by the central metal ion and the electrons gained by it from ligands is called effective atomic number. Thus, according to effective atomic number rule, the effective atomic number in a complex should be equal to 36, 54 or 86. According to this rule, any metal from first transition series would make a stable coordination compound, and if this metal acquires nearest noble gas configuration. The nearest noble gas for this series is krypton, and the atomic number of krypton is 36. So metal would make a complex in which the total number of electron in that complex is 36. The number of electrons possessed by the metal plus the number of electrons gained from the ligands. Similarly, for second transition series elements, these elements would make a coordination complex if they acquire nearest noble gas, that is xenon's atomic number, or in that case that would be called as effective atomic number. And in third transition series, the nearest noble gas for these elements is radon, and the effective atomic number for third transition series elements is 86. So any element would make a coordination compound in which the total number of electrons possessed by that metal plus the electrons gained from the ligand should be equal to the nearest noble gas. In these examples, EAN rule is obeyed in the formation of coordination complex. In hexacyanoferrate ion, if we calculate the effective atomic number for the complex, it comes out to be 36, which is nearest noble gas atomic number, that is of krypton. And in platinum pentamine chloro complex, the effective atomic number comes out to be 86, which is its nearest noble gas atomic number, or these two complexes follow effective atomic number rule. Now let us see how to calculate effective atomic number. This is an example of iron complex hexacyanoferrate ion. In this complex, iron is central metal atom and its atomic number is 26. The oxidation state of iron in this complex is positive 2, and in dipositive cationic state it has 24 electrons. There are 6 cyano-ligands that donate 12 electrons to the metal. So effective atomic number for this complex is 24 plus 12, which is nearest noble gas electronic configuration, that is krypton. So this complex obeys effective atomic number rule. Here is another example of platinum complex pentamine chloroplatinum ion. In this complex, platinum is the central metal ion and the oxidation state of platinum in this complex is tetrapositive. Atomic number of platinum metal is 78 and the total number of electrons on tetrapositive metal cation is 74, and there are 6 ligands, 5 ammonia ligands, 1 chloride ligand. These ligands donate total 12 electrons to the platinum. So effective atomic number for this complex is 74 plus 12, that is equal to 86, which is nearest noble gas radon's atomic number. In this complex also EAN rule is obeyed. There are many complexes that obey effective atomic number rule, but many stable complexes are also known in which effective atomic number rule is not obeyed. The two of the examples are given here. This is an example of nickel complex, nickel tetracyano nickel ion. In this complex, the effective atomic number is not followed, and in the second example, this is hexaamine chromium ion. In this complex, the effective atomic number comes out to be 33, which is not the nearest noble gas atomic number. So effective atomic number rule is not obeyed in these two complexes. Now let us calculate effective atomic number for complexes that do not obey effective atomic number rule. This is tetracyano nickel ion. In this complex ion, nickel is the central metal atom. Its atomic number is 28. Nickel's oxidation state in this complex is +2, and the total number of electrons possessed by nickel ion is 26. There are 4 cyano-ligands that donate total 8 electrons to the nickel ion. So effective atomic number in this complex is 26 plus 8, and it comes out to be 32. To follow the effective atomic number rule, the effective atomic number should be 36. So effective atomic number rule is not being obeyed in this complex. Now let us discuss another complex, a complex of chromium. In this complex also, effective atomic number rule is not being obeyed. This is hexaamino chromium ion. In this complex ion, chromium is the central metal atom. Atomic number of chromium is 24, and chromium is tripositive cationic state in this complex, and the total number of electron possessed by chromium cation is 21. There are 6 amino ligands which donate 12 electrons to the chromium ion, and the effective atomic number in this complex is 21 plus 12, that comes out to be 33. In this complex, as you can see, the effective atomic number rule is not being obeyed.